we go. Welcome everybody to our Committee of the Whole meeting for March. For those new to the Committee of the Whole meeting, this process, we have no voting at council. We're reviewing information for upcoming council meetings and discussion to give us more time on the issues. We have Councillor Eleanor Link from Ward 1, Councillor Bichetti from Ward 2, Councillor Prague from Ward 4. Our CAO is joining us as well. And RM of West St. Paul is our Municipal Legislative Officer, Ms. Lainey Shaw. Our first item on the agenda, we have our RCMP Sergeant coming in at 4:15 to present recent crime statistics. We are down to item 4.4.1, the tender package for the waste activated sludge and wastewater pumping and disposal. The administrative report is attached. And comparisons as well from all of the bids that applied for sludge and wastewater pumping disposal. I'll go around the virtual council table and see if there are any questions regarding that tender. Councillor Link, any questions?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bichetti?
No, no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Prague?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kleiber, we are just on item 4.41 on the tender package for waste activated sludge and the wastewater pumping and disposal. Any questions regarding that item? Yep, go ahead.
Okay, I guess I'm a little bit late. Did we go through everything else so far?
No, we're just on item 4.41, the first item on the agenda. We have the RCMP Sergeant coming in at 4:15. So
Okay.
we're on 4.41. Yep.
Okay, thank you. No, I don't have any questions on that. I just want to know where, I'm sorry I'm late.
It's okay. Thank you. All right, with no questions then, we're on to item 4.42, Board of Revisions. And the administrative report is attached for that as well. I can just pull that up. And the date of the next Board of Revisions meeting, sorry, just pulling up my administrative report here. And the date of is October 3rd, I believe. I apologize here. October 3rd, 5 p.m. And so this is Board of Revisions is every year, and it's usually first week in November. Any questions regarding the date or administrative report? Councillor Link?
The administrative report that I have says November 3rd. Is that,
Sorry,
did
I say November 3rd?
I didn't think so. I thought you said September, but maybe I heard wrong. Maybe
Okay.
I heard wrong.
I could have. Thanks. November 3rd, 5 p.m. Yep, usually the first week in November. And we have appointed our board members for Board of Revision for a 3-year term. So the same board members will come back, do an excellent job for us. Any other questions regarding the Board of Revision? Okay. Seeing none, I'll move on. We have a roadside speed display device, item 4.8.1, and we have an administrative report on that as well. Sorry, I'll just open that up. To approve the location of a roadside speed display device in the municipality, and that requires permission of location from Manitoba Infrastructure on their provincial highway. It's to be used in location on roadways to have known issues of speeding, and then this is the site approved by Manitoba Infrastructure. So I will go around and see if there are any questions. Councillor Kleiber, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, how was the site picked? Did we pick that site? I don't recall council having any input in that.
No. Mr. CEO, can I pass that to you for clarification?
Well, we're going to have 2 sites. And one of the sites is going to be permanent. It's going to be by the school. So schools on the highway, we're getting a lot of speeders there. The RCMP's catching a lot of people, and the other one's going to be mobile, but we don't have that one yet. So the other one would be moved around the community.
So just for clarification, the one that you're putting in at the school is permanent?
Yes.
Okay. And did we discuss that as council or no? I don't recall discussing that.
Well, we've had discussions around this, and the discussions were probably the place that the community would like to be most safe is around the school. So we know there's other locations with speed problems, but the consensus when we've discussed this informally has been the children of West St. Paul are the most important, and that school's on a highway.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
Isn't there a crosswalk there as well? A lighted crosswalk? No?
Not where it's going.
No? Okay, sorry. You know, I drive by there all the time, but I'm not always aware of what's there. I thought that we had a lit crosswalk with the flashing across there. Okay, so the decision was made by administration then. I don't see an issue with it, but for the next one, could we have some input as to where it will be moving?
Yeah, the next one will be a roaming speed limit, and we could get that for the first year the top 10 locations for our top 12 maybe in 1 month in each location, or however council wants to do it.
And I would just let council know this weekend, I don't know if you heard it, but there was a lot of racing going on this weekend. Did anybody hear it over there on Main Street? Yeah, we had a lot of ripping down the street this weekend. So hopefully we can talk to our RCMP officer about that.
Thank you, Councillor Kleiber. Councillor Link, any questions regarding the speed display?
Yeah, so it's on the west side, so it'll be catching the traffic coming into the city in the morning will be warned of their speed. Yeah,
Yes.
okay, so you're not so concerned about the afternoon when probably there's more traffic going north.
When I talked to the RCMP, where they seem to have more problems, it was going north. Going south, coming from the north, going south.
In the morning time, I guess.
Yes, morning time is
Okay.
the time everyone's rushing to get to work.
Okay, good. Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bichetti, any questions regarding the speed device?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Prague, any questions? Oh, you're on mute.
Mostly comments. The school is no problem. It's an area that we have to take action with. And the other one, the roving one that we're going to move around, I know there are complaints coming in from residents, and we should take that into consideration when moving it. To go to the high priority, then thing it and rotate it on a rotational basis. That's my comments.
Thank you, Councillor Prague. Councillor Link, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I do have two more questions. Will the RM be responsible for doing the installation, or will MI do the installation? That's the first question.
Mr. Seo.
The RM will be doing it.
Okay. And does this device have a link to a monitor where an employee could be collecting and monitoring data from it? Or is it just a standalone
To
thing?
encourage.
No, there's no data download function. This is assigned to encourage people.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you, councillors. And just as a reminder, we talked about it, the province offered us this. So Manitoba Public Insurance is covering the cost of this. We have no cost at all to the municipality. until August 1st, 2023. So this is great for our community. All of us as council members have heard concerns from our community about speeding. And while MI has had input and based on the analysis and report in our administrative report here, that the location of this sign was recommended by the technician with Manitoba Infrastructure, it's great that we'll have input on a second one. So to be able to spread that around through the municipality on key streets. And we've heard from quite a few people. So to have that become a movable sign and address on our municipal roads, not just the provincial highway here, is great. And I believe our RCMP sergeant can speak more about traffic infractions, but to have 155 speeding tickets handed out last year, we've definitely got a problem on Main Street. So if it can encourage people to slow down, this is good. And we definitely won't turn away free speeding devices, that's for sure. All right, we are now on to item 5.1, Red River Basin Commission contribution request for 2021. And all of that information is included in the administrative report about the funding. This is annual request for our contribution as members of the Red River Basin and the good work that they do. I will go around the table and see if there are any questions. Councillor Prague, any questions, concerns regarding the Red River Basin?
No concerns.
Thank you. Councillor Kleiber, any concerns regarding the contribution for Red River Basin?
No, none at all.
Thank you. Councillor Bichetti?
No concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Link?
No, thank you. No questions.
Great. They do great work, and I'm happy that West St. Paul can be part of this. All right, I'm just checking the time. We have no new business, and we have a couple of items for in camera. So we have enough time that we can go in camera before Sergeant Duncan comes to present to council. Can I have, we have no movers, sorry, force of habit. No movers to move in camera, we just move ourselves in camera. And we'll come back out of camera when we're done addressing 3 items. I will wait for the signal from Brian that we are off live YouTube. out of camera, where we discussed an audit letter, legal and bylaw enforcement. And we're just setting up our police reporting with RCMP Sergeant Joe Duncan to go over the crime statistics for the last quarter and 2020. We may need to take a break here. Sergeant Duncan's having connectivity issues. We had him waiting while we were in camera. And if we need to take a break, we can do that too.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe Sergeant Duncan's here.
Welcome, Sergeant Duncan. Thanks for waiting for us while we were in camera. Or not.
Oh.
Oh, technology. Ms. Shaw, do we want to send him a text and see if he wants 15 minutes to get connected, or are we doing okay here?
I just have him pulled in. We just need to get him unmuted.
Okay, okay.
Hello, everyone. It's Sergeant Duncan here. Sorry, I'm just having some technical difficulties. Can everyone hear me?
We can, yes. Thank you for your patience and waiting for us to come out of camera. And thank you for joining us tonight.
Not a problem at all. I also have Corporal Blair Morris with me here. So Blair's been here for a while now, so he will be able to help with some questions. So
Wonderful. Thank you both. I'm going to turn it over to you and let you walk through the
okay.
report. Thank you.
I think I'm maybe getting cut out here again.
What do you think, Ms. Shaw? Should we take a break? Oh, okay, we'll try again.
Oh, I am back here. I don't know if anyone can hear me.
We can, yes.
Sorry, I'm just trying to use this on my own personal phone. We're having problems with our computer database, and it's not allowing us into the meeting.
Yeah, it is hard to hear you.
Okay, unfortunately. How about now?
That's better.
Okay, perfect.
Good.
But much apologies for that. We have a lot of firewalls, and it's not allowing me to connect by Zoom by my work computer and my work phone. So, Dan, I'm just going to touch on the third quarter report as completed by Inspector Duff, and I'd just like to start off with the staffing allotments we presently have at the detachment. This report was written a little while ago, and it kind of is only good the day that it's written. So first of all, we do have 10 positions at the detachment. Presently, we have 1 member on light duties, as well as we have 1 member potentially transferring out to the East Coast. So we will look at filling that position in-house. Next, I'm going to just focus on the annual performance plan, just traffic safety, some of the numbers that we have in the West St. Paul area. I think you can see the numbers there for speeding, distracted driving, intersection related, and as well as care and control. So numbers are fairly consistent with prior years, but a little bit more proactive efforts now that some of the provincial guidelines have been reduced. I'm going to touch on show cap. I know the report says that we didn't really have any show cap interactions in the last couple months, but we actually had 2 offenders that were recently released on parole. 1 has been returned to jail through show cap checks, and the other one has been relocated into the city of Winnipeg. Next, I'm just going to touch on some files of interest that we do have. We did have one here in West St. Paul that we actually worked on together with our crime reduction unit as well as our the Winnipeg Police Service. On October 5th, we actually had a daytime break and enter to a residence on Pipeline where 2 individuals showed up in a stolen vehicle stolen out of Steinbach, and attended the house and actually waited outside for a couple minutes, knocked on the door, and then broke into the house. The homeowner had some sophisticated surveillance system, which was able to capture the 2 individuals, the license plate, and we are looking at charges on one of the individuals. I'm just going to touch on here a little more of calls that we have received. From my records check, and I mean, we're a bit of a growing pains here with the amalgamation of Selkirk, so numbers are maybe different from year to year. We're trying to improve that. We'll work together. But for my review, there was 466 occurrences in this quarter. We had 5 assaults, 1 assault with a weapon. The 7 break and enters. A lot of these break and enters are to locations where individuals aren't locking their houses or being mindful of that. So again, we did have the 1 clear by charge. In addition to some of our regular duties, we've also been tasked by the Public Health Agency of Canada to do COVID compliance checks on individuals that are returning from international travel. So what that entails is that individuals who return home from out of country or to isolate for a 14 period. From there, we do checks to ensure their compliance. In this quarter, we have done 35 of the compliance checks. And we find that there was 2 vehicle thefts, and again, these are crimes of opportunity where individuals are leaving keys in vehicles or leaving them open and accessible to people that are passing by. Traffic-wise, again, we had about 6 impaireds. We've seen that with COVID, I think our numbers are somewhat skewed. A lot more people are at home now, so you're not getting the rash of break and enters that you might have had traditionally. Again, this may change in the near future when the restrictions are somewhat lifted. Just in regards to a COPP program, I actually have met with the coordinator a couple months ago. Unfortunately, COVID has kind of restricted some of that contact. Our Community Indigenous Policing Services sent out a request for an auxiliary program, and I was looking at acquiring an individual for West St. Paul to kind of liaise with the COPP program to get them up and running and to kind of help them out with some other challenges that they may have. And in that, I'm open to any questions.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the report and for you joining us tonight. We'll make it public once we've talked to you here tonight, but we really appreciate that.
Sure.
I'm going to go around our virtual council table here and I'm sure there'll be questions for you. Councillor Prague, with your policing background, go ahead. Any questions?
First of all, I'd like to thank Sergeant Duncan. I phoned him in regards to the conveners at the Sonova Center. And without an hesitation, he said they'll do the background checks, just collect all the camera to collect all the names of the conveners, and drop it off, and he'll get it done. I'd just like to thank him for that.
Oh, you're very welcome, and absolutely, we're definitely willing to help out there.
Yeah, and you know, like safety is our number one. We want these conveners to be on a good standing because they'll be dealing with kids. And that's why
Absolutely.
yes, and another one, what I would like, I know, I like your view is the crime in West St. Paul from the previous years. Is it up or is there a downswing? Because there's a lot of people on social media here making it very, stating it's very unsafe. You know, and I'd like some clarity if you could give us that.
Okay, I'm just going to refer to the 3-year comparatives here that was provided by Inspector Duff.
Yes.
I think that the crime stats going back from 2018 to present day are somewhat consistent. Actually, we're down 50% in theft of property under 5,000. I think it's just a bit of a beast that's created by social media, and with social media and the ability and the technology behind it, it increases awareness and makes that access to information a lot easier. So people are seeing more of it via social media than by traditional means, receiving it through a report or through the actual media itself. So I think that's maybe contributing to it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sergeant Duncan.
You're very
Much
welcome.
appreciated.
Thank you, Councillor Prague. Councillor Link, any questions for Sergeant Duncan?
No, I don't have any questions, and I appreciate that quarterly statistical reporting over the 2018, 2019, 2020, because you can't see the trends, and it's clear.
Excellent, and we'll continue going forward with that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Link. Councillor Bichetti, any questions for Sergeant Duncan?
No, Councillor Craig went through it all. Thank you for the report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Kleiber, any questions for Sergeant Duncan?
Sergeant Duncan, we had a bunch of speeding this weekend, and it was quite loud. It was, somebody's got a nice big muffler on, and they're ripping down Grassmere Road, and I know I saw on social media people as far as Main Street heard it. So I've had a problem. I live on Grassmere Road from McPhillips to Pipeline, and I hear them all the time. What can we do about that? And since we're public and we're taping it, what would you recommend to our residents that they should do when they see speeding or hear speeding?
I think what the residents should do is record the license plate information down.
Okay.
And report it to us. The more information we can get and the more times and when it's happening, it will enable us to conduct some more proactive patrols into that area.
Okay, well, I can tell you from experience that last summer it was every Saturday night.
Okay.
It was every Saturday night. And I think there are people coming from the city. And because Grassmere has a straightaway from Grassmere to Pipeline, there's that long straightaway, that's where they race.
Okay, and I really appreciate the information. And I actually myself, I just arrived here late September.
Okay, so what I did last year is I did take license plates down, and I will continue to do that and forward it to you. And if residents are listening, please do the same, so that we can at least, I believe you guys send out a warning letter once we give you the information. Is that correct? And he might be gone.
Oh, sorry. It went to a Bluetooth, and my phone went to a Bluetooth in the car. Sorry, did you get my last message there?
I think I heard you. I just wondered if once we hand in the license, then you guys usually send out a letter or something? Or
We can, or on the severity of it, if the individual wants to provide us with a statement, we can also look at charges. It doesn't have to be charging the driver. We can also charge a registered owner, but we could go both ways. I mean, issuing a warning notice to the registered owner would probably be maybe the easiest and the most effective.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's great information for our residents as well.
Okay, perfect. And did you hear the part about the MPI funding and for programs?
Nope, we didn't.
Okay, sorry. That's where the phone went to a Bluetooth in one of the cars. So what I was saying is that we can get funding through MPI to bring members in from other units and areas to do some proactive traffic initiatives. And this seems like a good criteria for that program.
That's great. How do we access that, or is that just on your recommendation?
It's actually access to the RCMP. MPI provides funding every year for impaired driving, for speeding enforcement, for distracted driving, as well as impaired driving. So we get to access some funding to do more proactive policing. I mean, with our present situation, we are, for the most part, reactive.
Okay, great. Well, if we can get extra funding for extra surveillance, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Well, we really appreciate you being here, Sergeant Duncan. I guess, a couple of my comments would be the speeding is definitely an issue. And I know that you guys have that racing with the mufflers off on the East St. Paul side of the river, because I can hear it across the river from my house. So I know this isn't a West St. Paul issue. I know you're dealing with this everywhere. So yeah, any help that you can give us and will be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely.
And just touching on, Councillor Pereg had mentioned about social media, and it really is important for residents to know that we are a safe community. And when I'm looking at the crime stats and like Councillor Link, I do really appreciate that you guys have provided stats from 2018, 19, and 20. I think that is really important in terms of perspective, and that we've been stable or dropped probably because of COVID, I'm sure. And looking at, break and enter 6 houses. And I don't want to diminish the 6 people that would have been victimized in our community, because to have a break and enter would be a horrific violation and it would be awful. But because of social media, I do find sometimes there is a lot of hype about, this is something that's going on rampant in our community. And you making these stats available for us to share with the community really just highlights that we are a safe community. And maybe you could talk about some of the experience you've had in policing. We're only dealing with West St. Paul. We're only in our own area relative to other communities our size and our neighbors, and being 11 kilometers from downtown Winnipeg and 20 minutes from city of Selkirk, where it's a city. Inspector Duff is quite pleased with how West St. Paul is doing, and maybe you could touch on that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. No. No. I think through my policing experiences, I'm actually entering my 14th year at the RCMP. I started my my career in Cardiff, Saskatchewan. So I'm going to probably reference that, because to me it's kind of the closest to West St. Paul. Cardiff is about 90 kilometers kind of away from Estevan, which is our major center, about 2 hours away from Brandon. And Cardiff had a very large oil and gas industry there. A lot of rural residences, a lot of rural businesses, a lot of oil sites. The amount of break and enters there compared to West St. Paul, we would probably get between, 5 or 6 a week compared to a quarter. So the numbers there are quite a bit higher. With the proximity to the city, I think that the numbers are, as you said, I don't want to minimize any crime in it at all, but 6 break and enters in a quarter is actually a very low number.
Well, it's coming up from the stats we have here that it's 6 in the entire year of 2020.
Yeah.
So and again, I'm not minimizing it, but I just, without residents and seeing the comments on social media or hearing of somebody, you know, it quickly becomes overblown that there's some problems in our community or it's not safe. So I'm really glad that we're able to provide this and share it with the public that we are really safe and that we can expect some crime because of our proximity to two cities. But this is still really good. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but it was about 2 years ago that we had our CMP, maybe more than 2 years, do a bit of a blitz and go through some of our neighborhoods and open unlocked doors in people's driveways and leave notes saying, you know, the RCMP has been here, your doors have not been locked. So we're a rural community, but we still have to be focused on crime prevention and doing our part to secure our property. And it was kind of an eye opener for council and for our community members to see how many people still leave their cars unlocked in their driveways and their garage doors unlocked. So we really appreciate partnering with you, and any information that we can include in our newsletters on crime prevention to help our community, we would share that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we touched on this previously, just about even the engagement on social media. Again, if you want me to do some social media messages, I'm more than willing to do that.
Absolutely. That would be
on
great.
Education and awareness. Yeah.
Councillor Kleiber, you have another question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, have you had any issues, and this relates to social media, because there were some reports on social media, any issues on the townhouses on Main Street? Have you been called to anything there?
Just very, just speaking of Corporal Marsh here, he said there have been the odd call, but very little.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, those are all the comments and questions I have. We really appreciate you both joining us tonight and sharing this information, and we will be sharing that with the community. And I'll absolutely be contacting you for some social media posts to have and work with us on that. We really appreciate that.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Have a great night.
You too. Thanks. Take care.
You too. All right, and that is all we have on our Committee of the Whole agenda. That information will be unlocked and residents will be able to see those crime statistics for themselves so that they have updated information. Councillor Kleiber?
I just wanted to bring up, with respect to the two subdivisions that we have on Thursday, doesn't seem to be any information for the public to look at. Is there any way we can at least post the first page of that subdivision? I know it's not a public hearing, but would make sense to be transparent and show at least the first page of where it's taking place.
Just for more detail, can you send an email to the CAO and then he can look into that and respond tomorrow?
Yes, I actually have already sent it. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thanks. Okay. Well, that is our agenda for this evening. Thank you all, and we will see you Thursday night for our planning meeting. Have a great night.
Good night.